This is Antic, the Atari 8-Bit Podcast. I'm Kevin Savitz. Rockie R.J. Morgan published one program through Atari Program Exchange, Piano Tuner, which first appeared in the summer 1983 APX catalog. I'll read its entry from that catalog. Piano Tuner by R.J. Morgan, recommended for ages 16 and up, with knowledge of music and piano, written in BASIC. Learn piano tuning, tone generation, and ear training. If nobody wants Sam to play it again anymore, maybe it's the piano. Keeping this delicate instrument in tune is a difficult but critical part of maintaining it in good condition. Piano Tuner incorporates the sound capabilities of your Atari home computer to help you learn the procedure and skills you need for this task. The Tuning Procedures section of the program guides you through the steps to do a general tuning. It prints instructions and illustrations for each step. Then it sounds the tones you need to adjust your piano. Select the Single Tones option to generate any of the 88 possible pitches on a piano. Each note is listed on the screen, and you use a joystick to select the one you want. Hold down the joystick button to listen to that tone. To sharpen your skills as a tuner, choose Ear Training. You select one pitch, and the program produces another within 15 cycles per second of the first. Use the joystick to increase or decrease the pitch of the second tone. When you've matched the first tone, you no longer hear the beat sound that indicates a difference. Practice makes perfect. The author invites written questions and comments. Review comments. This program doesn't replace the services of a professional piano tuner. The graphic representation of the piano strings is good, and the tuning procedure is easy to follow. It's useful for the piano owner who wants to learn general tuning. Requires Atari Basic Language cartridge, one Atari joystick controller, tuning hammer, damping wedges or felt. Order information. It was available on cassette, which required 16K of RAM, and diskette, which required 24K of RAM. Either way, it cost $29.95. It was APX catalog number 20216. This interview took place on June 5th, 2018.
Let's see. I used to start my resume at the age of 14 years. In 7th or 8th grade, I was very bored in math and had a good math teacher who shipped me off to the high school across around the block, really. High school had a digital equipment PDP-8 computer, and we got to go and play with that thing, and I fell in love with machines at that point.
Mm-hmm.
This was around 1967 or so. First, it had a teletype interface, those loud, nasty ASR-33 teletypes. I don't know if you remember those things, really loud suckers. Paper tape punch was always broken, so the way to write software is to write it out in assembly language, translate it into machine language, and type it into the machine.
Mm-hmm. One
instruction at a time, which is a lot of fun. You know, you're 14, and nothing better to do with your time. It's long before video games. So that's what we did, and it stuck with me.
Nice. All right, let's jump ahead a little bit. You can tell me a little bit about how you found the Atari computer, or was that your first microcomputer?
It was. Frankly, it was fairly cheap, which was why we bought it. Had those nasty bubble keyboards. It was, I don't know what you call the keyboard, the blistered plastic keyboards that were really hard to use.
You had an Atari 400 with the membrane keyboard.
The membrane keyboard, that's the word I'm looking for, yes.
Yeah.
And a cassette tape recorder for recording. I remember developing Piano Tuner with a big pile of Q-tips and rubbing alcohol in my workspace. Cleaning the oxide off the recorder head so I can get a good copy.
Wow. So you did that program with an Atari 400 and a cassette drive.
Yep.
That's impressive, sir. That's dedication. It's what we call the hard way.
Pieces on Christmas.
So were you...
It was, yes.
You were a piano tuner yourself?
No. I saw that right interest and I'm puzzled where that came from. I was never a professional piano tuner.
Yeah, Antic Magazine
said
that you were one.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from. In high school, we got a it's called a conservatory grand piano. The fretboard, the pegboard for the tuning pegs was rather loose, and certain notes are always coming out of tune to drive you nuts. $75, $80 to have a piano tuner come out and fix it. If you're really expensive.
Sure.
And I discovered on the Atari that you can current sounds at a given frequency, an integer frequency, which as I call is troublesome. But if you wanted an A at 440 hertz, the standard A, you can get a nice clean A out. I professionally generate that tone and match it, much like tuning a guitar. Tune the two notes, you tune the reference note until it's beatless, and you could get a good enough sound for doing that. You couldn't detect the beat. There's no audio input on the Atari.
Mm-hmm.
It was good enough.
So you just listen to it and wait for the beat to ebb and figured you had the right tone. So did you use this often to tune your own piano?
Oh, more than once, a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It was good enough.
You decided. Tell me about selling this program to Atari Program Exchange.
I forget how I discovered it. I think a friend of mine also had an Atari. What was it? 400 and 800, was it?
That's correct.
I think so. About Day-Ray Atari, and we were looking at the Program Exchange, and he told me about it. So I looked a little further into it and just said, what the heck? I have a nice blister-wrapped copy of it to show for the effort.
Nice.
Things are hanging on the wall in the office. I don't recall if I ever made any money off of it or not.
Yeah, it was going to be my next question. If it sold,
I think I sold 2 copies.
2 copies. Wow.
Yeah, I think so. We're talking about 20 years ago now.
Sure.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I said it could have been at least 30 years ago. It's been quite a while.
Did you get any feedback from the Atari people about changes they wanted made in the program, or did you hear from either of your 2 buyers?
I don't believe I ever heard from a customer, and I think there's some cosmetic changes that Atari wanted me to make to color schemes and something like that. Nothing terribly comprehensive or difficult.
Did you do any other Atari projects? I searched around for your name and didn't really find anything else that was published that you made.
No, that was it. Certainly in Atari, I wrote a dictionary a couple of years later with a friend. That's an interesting experience.
A dictionary on the Atari?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
No. A friend of mine at Bell Corporation was always asking me what's some silly acronym meant, or the others. So we decided to write a dictionary of Unix acronyms. I think last time I saw it was still available on Amazon, but the publisher went out of business.
Oh, this is an actual book.
Totally our fault.
I see. Your fault, right?
An actual hard copy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So what else did you do with your Atari when you weren't working on Piano Tuner? You were playing games or programming other things?
Oh, Frogger and Centipede. The kids, one of our oldest kids, love Frogger and Centipede. I think my younger son's never seen the machine. Still sitting in a box, I think, in the garage somewhere.
Don't you owe it to him to take it out of the box and show him Frogger and Centipede?
I would think. Yeah, I should think so. I don't want to break the blister wrap on the software. But should show them. The grandkids would love to see them. They probably love Frogger.
Nice. Did you do anything else with it? Play some games? Did you program? Any other use?
Wrote my program. That was it.
Yeah.
Then I got busy with work.
Sure. What do you do with yourself today?
Well, I'm retired.
How do you spend your time?
Watching CNN too much. Traveling with my wife.
Nice.
Yeah, it was it.
Well, explain some of your can't use the computer too much.
Yeah. With Parkinson's, I have a difficult time typing anymore. I managed to screw up my Apple ID with Apple and spent 2 weeks getting them to reset the password.
Yikes.
And that was just painful.
Yeah. What haven't I asked you about that time that I should have? You have any stories or anything that we haven't touched on?
Don't need to mention the stream of expletives from the back of that thing up to the cassette tape player, but you know how many copies are lost. So it's kind of a hit and miss saving your program. You read it to a cassette tape. The only way to know if you get a good copy is to restore it from the cassette tape. If first you didn't get a good copy, you're in trouble.
Right. Did you lose some along the way?
Oh, dozens.
Oh, man. Sorry. Did you ever think about upgrading to a floppy drive?
Well, I did, but about the same time, the company I was working for, digital equipment, decided the IBM PC was the future and bought me one of those. Mm-hmm. So I got to play PC, and that was just completely different.
Right.
The old IBM PC, x86 architecture, dual floppies, no hard drive.
Probably a little more reliable than the cassette drive on the Atari.
Just a bit. Wasn't that good. Technology back then really sucked. It was not good stuff.
All right, I think this is my last question. If you could send a message to the Atari computer users that still exist and still play with those machines, and you can right now, what would you tell them?
I admire your tenacity. Have fun with that thing. Let me go find mine, show my grandkids what life was like before iPhones and iPads.
Sounds...
Yeah. Where's the delete key?
What'd you say?
Oh, I said, where's the delete key?
Great.
A little joke, press any key. Where's the any key?
Right. Yes. All right, I think I have what I need. Thank you so much, Rocky. I'm glad I found you.
A pleasure.
If you enjoy these interviews and would like to contribute, there are two ways you can help. You can help fund these interviews directly by contributing to my Patreon. A small monthly contribution will help offset the expenses of making these oral history interviews. Contribute at patreon.com/Savitz. Or make a tax-deductible contribution to the Internet Archive, a nonprofit digital library that has done incredible things to preserve computer history. Make your tax-deductible contribution at archive.org/donate. Thanks.